I had my first blood clot when I was 29. It started as this subtle kind of cramp-like feeling in my left calf that progressively became more uncomfortable despite icing it and massaging it. And when I woke up one day and couldn't put any weight on it because of the pain, I went to the ER. But all of the nurses that I talked to tried to reassure me that I was too young and too healthy to have something like that. But after a blood test and an ultrasound, they confirmed that it was in fact a deep vein thrombosis, or DVT. After that, I was prescribed blood thinners for 3 months, and everything went smoothly. Fast forward 7 years later, I'm 36, and I had just gotten off a 5-hour flight after a family trip to Hawaii when I noticed a familiar cramp-like feeling in my left leg. Now, at first, I thought this might just be from the new shoes that I was trying to break in at the time, but even after 7 years, it suddenly hit me that this sensation was just too familiar to that time when I had the DVT 7 years ago. But I tried to stay calm, and after observing it for about a week and it not getting any better, I finally went to the ER. I heard the familiar, "Oh, you're so young to have that." But once again, they confirmed that I had another DVT in my left leg. Now, I knew the drill, going back on blood thinners again, but this time the doctor said that it would probably be for life. Since this was my second clot, they ran a different blood test to check for genetic issues and found out that I have a gene mutation called prothrombin G20210A, which is basically a gene mutation that makes me twice as likely to have clotting issues compared to the average person. But it wasn't over yet. 2 days into the regimen of blood thinners, and I suddenly have this wave of lightheadedness and this intense anxiety crawling through my skin while I was doing nothing but lying in bed and scrolling on my phone. So I went back to the ER, they did a CT scan of my chest, and found a small clot in my right lung. And now here we are. I just celebrated my 37th birthday, and I'm doing my best to take care of my body, take my medication like clockwork, and stay positive. But the stress and anxiety has been really challenging. I've gone back to the ER about 3 times so far, thinking that I had another clot, but each time the doctors verified that I was clot-free. Sometimes people will tell me that I'm living too much in fear and that the anxiety is just going to make things worse. But what they don't realize is that for every one time that I've gone to the emergency room, there have been dozens of separate occasions where I've felt something concerning in my body and just told myself to ignore it and move on. But I'll tell you what, I'm really glad to have found a community called the National Blood Clot Alliance. Their podcast episodes and interviews with doctors and patients have not only helped to educate me on all things related to blood clots, but they've also helped me feel far less alone and more understood through all of this.